Have you ever gone back to that restaurant and give him a bad Yelp review? Like food was great. Food was great,
No.
but the bullets afterward, the dessert was not so great.
Your road service, poo poo.
Welcome to Splintered Spirits. I'm your host, Gary, and along with my nephew, John Santa from Santa Paranormal, we explore spirit communication to try and answer the question, what are spirits? Our guest today, Matthew Botsford, has a story that challenges everything we think we know about life, death, and what might come after. In 1992, Matthew was standing outside a restaurant in Atlanta when a stray bullet struck him in the head. Matt died. D-E-D, dead. A true flatline. We've all heard of near-death experiences. A person has an accident, sees the light or their grandma glowing with wings, and then wakes up with a new outlook on life. But what followed for Matthew wasn't light or peace. It was torment. Matthew had what's called a distressed near-death experience, and it happens to an unfortunate select few. Matthew says he awoke in a dark, cavernous place, surrounded by twisted creatures and unbearable pain. He calls it hell. But that's not where his story ends. After 27 days in a coma and a miraculous recovery, Matthew came back convinced that what he experienced was real and that it revealed something profound about the human spirit, consciousness, and the power of love to pull us back from the edge. We're going to explore what Matthew saw, what he believes spirits are, and how his brush with the afterlife reshaped his understanding of everything. Let's dive into the conversation. Matthew, it's good to see you. Welcome to Splintered Spirits.
Gary, thank you. Good to be here, man.
Yeah, man, it's good. It's where are we finding you today? Where are you from, Matthew?
St. Augustine, Florida.
Oh, and it's I see you're wearing a sweater. It's
Yes, long pants, sweater. Not St. Augustine normal outfits. We're just cold today, and then we get nice and warm tomorrow, and we warm up back into our 70s come the weekend. So that's called Florida.
How long you been living there?
We've been here, let's see, 5 years, I think.
Where were you before that?
St. Simon's Island.
Got it.
Georgia.
Got it.
Yeah.
Georgia. That's right.
Yeah.
Well, Matt, you've got the reason we want to talk to you today is because you have a very interesting perspective and a unique experience into this question that we always ask on Splintered Spirits, which is, what are spirits? You know, and as we talk about the paranormal and spirit communication. So
yeah,
before we get into the spiritual side of things, I would love if you could just walk us through that night again, from the moment from the moment you were first shot to the first moment you realized you were somewhere else.
Yeah, like you said, Gary, back in 92, waiting for a taxi on a business trip, there were some gentlemen outside, did not know this, drunk, intoxicated, carrying 9mm Uzis, and took a shot up, like 50 yards behind me, so I caught a bullet in the top of my head. Didn't know it at the time, but what I felt was like this searingly hot, like if you took a hypodermic needle and heated it up, in a flame, and then just punched it in the top of your head. I know I'm coming out of the camera, but punched it in the top. It was in the top right side of my head. And so the bullet came in, and it was incredibly painful. And it was an instantaneous thing, Gary. I mean, I went from being who I knew I was, my body, existing in this world as we know it, to all of a sudden coming into this other place where black, cold, no human life was there, but it was filled with it was filled with other things, other spirits, if you will, demons. They were very evil where I went.
So you were on a business trip.
Yes, sir.
And what would you say, what was your life like before this incident happened? Were you like a big partier, Matt? Like what was the lifestyle like for Matthew Botsford before this incident?
No, Matthew Botsford was a really good guy. Newly married, and I was all about working hard in a family business in order to make a good living, to take care of my family. But I was a good person. You know what I mean? Not like
Yeah.
like a partier. No, not like that at all.
Right.
Cared about people, loved my family. So that was my goal.
Were you because you're quite religious now.
Now I am. Yes.
Were you as religious before? Would you
No.
say?
No.
No. Were you practicing?
I believed that there was a God before,
Okay.
but I never knew his son, if you will, to have to have an actual relationship with God. I did not know Jesus. Um, that all changed after this whole experience.
What denomination would you say you are?
Non
Non-denominational. So you
Christian,
Christian.
yeah,
Okay. So before the incident, you were raised Christian,
yeah.
right? Your family's, but did you go to church every Sunday? Did you do
N-
that kind of thing?
No, maybe on a Christmas or a holiday.
Yeah, right. You were a
Yeah,
holiday, right? I
yeah,
get it for
yeah.
sure.
Well,
I know.
I don't know what you call. There's a word for that. I think.
Yeah, I know there is a sort of a funny. Look, I was raised Catholic. I went to Catholic school for
Yes.
till 8th grade. So, and then I know exactly what you're talking about. Those just those holiday
Yeah.
the holiday goers. What? God, there is a name for that. I gotta look that up.
Yeah, there isn't it. Yeah, it's eluding me
So
right now.
so right, mate. So you're working and it's a family business. You run this trip with your brother.
Yes.
You get shot. You get shot in the head,
Yes.
and then as now when you look back upon it, it was almost immediate that you were then.
Yeah, it was an immediate thing whereby I was no longer in this realm, experiencing people in this realm, but dying on a sidewalk, and I was immediately transported into this other side, this other world, full of horrible creatures.
Now,
That
so
Mhm.
yes, I want to. Right before you tell me that these about these creatures, which I want to get into, did you feel at any moment that this was a dream?
I did not. I did not ever feel it was an
So
illusion
right, you were
or a
in it.
dream. No,
All right,
it was pure reality.
so tell me, when did you? So you're there, and were you? So go ahead now. Get into it, man. Like, let's hear it. So you're in this blackness. Describe the scene. Where are you? What are you doing?
The best I can describe where I was at is like a bottomless pit. There was no end to the bottom. I couldn't see the ends. You know what I mean?
Were you standing on the edge of like a cliff or something?
No, I was actually hung on the edge of a cliff, crucifixion style, like with chains on my wrists, left one, right one, on my ankles. Like crucifixion style. But I wasn't on a cross. I was hung in the air, if you want, or in mid space. But it was at the edge of a cliff, a precipice, if you will, like you said, Gary. So there was like a cliff that I was hung at the edge of.
Did it feel like you were underground, like or was it like another open space?
It felt like underground somewhere, but a vast, very big open space. I could actually see, and I've never been like, I don't know what you call people that explore caves, but I know enough to know that there were like stalactites coming from the ceiling areas, stalagmites that grew up from the floor areas and from different various ledges I could see in this realm. And I mean,
This sounds like
go ahead.
Yeah, it sounds like the opening scene from like Thor 3, where they've got Thor hanging on that chains,
Oh,
hanging over
dude,
the
I love
right.
those shows.
Yeah, right. I mean, did you see
Yeah,
that one? It's like he's hanging above, and the big,
I
and
didn't
he's just
see that one.
tied with chains.
I don't think it's
Dude, well, I don't know if you should, man. It might give you like
Oh, yeah, right.
PTSD or something. Like it makes you
Yeah.
have flashback.
Yeah.
Um,
Fortunately,
so at one moment you're on the street in Atlanta with your brother.
yes.
The next moment, okay, you're hanging upside down in this darkness, but you're inside a cave.
Yes.
Was there any sense of time? Did you know who you were? Like what's the was
I
your
had no
memory still there?
I had no sense of time, if we want to call it time like we know time, like minutes, hour. I sensed at this moment that this was an eternal realm. So that sense of time, I had a belief in that this was an eternal place that I was in. And there's nothing that I knew that I knew that who I was Matthew Botsford, and I knew there was nothing I could do to stop this, to save me, to get me out of there. There wasn't anybody to help to call for that,
Sure. So
Yeah.
what happens next? You're hanging there, and then what do you see? What's going on? Is it just like, well, I'm just stuck. There's no one. Are you calling for help? Like, what happens next?
Yeah, no calling for help. All of a sudden, I start to see out of the blackness, these I call them demonic creatures. There's all sorts of different words for demons and stuff. I don't profess to be a theologian of any sort, but these things would come out of the blackness like at lightning speeds and stop right before me. And I was hung such that, like, I'm looking at you, you're looking at me, but I was hung that way. So I wasn't upside down. I was upright, hanging. But these things would pop at me at lightning speed and then just stop. And they would mock me. I could tell they hated me. They hated the fact of who I was.
When you say mock you, like they were using word, like they were making fun of, like, hey, I don't like that suit, or like,
No, yeah,
what?
that's a wild. There's no words, but I knew it. I sensed it. They just probably the same way they knew to hate me for whatever reason. They hated me. But then what was also gross was, I mean, they were close enough so that I could actually see that they had talons on these short little grub like arm finger things, hand things, and
Mm-hmm.
then and teeth too. And at that moment, or in this period of time, it seemed like there was stuff hanging in their teeth. Okay. And then I'm hanging there, and then all of a sudden, whatever, one or two, or some of them would zip around behind me so now they're on my backside, and I would feel this excruciating pain. And I'm like, so I knew, okay, so what they were doing was with the fingers and maybe the teeth, I don't know. They were stripping the skin off of my back, torture. Um, so that's, I'm assuming there was
Sure.
flash from other,
Sure.
don't know,
Right.
that they were consuming or something.
So you're hanging upside down, and now they're starting to torture you,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
But you have no sense of time. You
No.
don't know how long this is going on for.
No.
When you look back on it now, how long do you feel you were there for? Was this going on for? Do you
Well,
know what I'm Does that make sense? Does that question make
yeah,
sense?
we've thought about that, and trying to put time on it, and the best for thinking back and recollect, maybe shy of a day, like 23 hours ish.
Wow.
Yeah, because there was a point, I know, because you talked with my wife a little bit at some other time, and she felt a disconnect being in a different state. So, we've always had a connection, husband, wife, when you're married, there's a connection. And so she knew somehow, like, when I wasn't in this realm anymore, because she couldn't feel me.
Well,
And
yeah, we'll talk about that too in a second.
yeah,
We'll talk about what's going on with your body in a moment while
yeah.
you're in this realm. So, okay, tell us then now guide us out. So this is happening. What do you see? How does this story end for you? Like,
How does
take us
this
from,
I
you
love
know what
that.
I'm saying?
How does this end?
How does
That's
this
like
end?
the
Like
end.
that, from this moment on, how do you get out of here?
Right,
Like,
right, right,
guide us
right.
through
Well,
this.
I didn't even share about the lava flow that was
Oh,
burning the
please.
skin off my legs.
Okay,
That's what the
so
whole that was whole cue about the can I back up and just sit that
yeah, please. No,
that
no,
was
no.
the
Go
whole
ahead.
thing about the edge you had mentioned that I was maybe at? Well, yeah, I was, and so this lava flow would come up from up, and I say lava because that's the only thing I can call it. Red magma, liquid, something very, very hot, would cut through, down towards me. Where it was going to eventually end up is at the bottom of this pit of some sort that I was over. Well, when it came over the edge, some of the it was globules of lava, if you will, they would splash. Like when you pour, when it comes out, you get splashes. Well, the
Sure.
splashes would hit my legs and burn off my flesh. I saw my own bones. And I could f and I've never been on fire before. I cannot even imagine people that have, but that pain I felt probably was the same, and then it like I said, it was a repeated experience because then my flesh would form back and burn off again, form back, burn off again, form back, so that was a little important part besides
Yeah.
the
It's
besides the
all pain.
demonic things.
Yeah, man. It sounds like it's all pain. It
It's
all
all
sucks.
pain, all
It all
cold,
sucked.
all loneliness,
As if getting shot in the back of the head wasn't bad enough.
yeah,
The next moment you wake up, you're hanging upside down by chains, you're getting your legs burned off with lava, and you got creatures of some sort ripping your skin off. This is all terrible news.
great
This is not
synopsis, yes.
this is not exactly what you were hoping for
No,
your business trip to Atlanta.
no,
This is
exactly.
okay.
No, we
So
were supposed to
keep
be
going.
planning for the convention, you know?
Right. Yeah.
Get a game
Right.
plan together.
The worst thing was that the convention would have been boring and you would have fallen asleep in the room. But instead,
Yeah,
this is where you wind up. Right.
yeah, right. So
So then what happens from there? So then
so
take us through it.
what happens with and this is the wonderful part, is what happens from there was, like I said, it was all black in there, even though I could see these demons of some sort, but above me, there was the best way to explain it is, if you took like a black garbage bag, plastic,
Sure.
and started and tried to push your finger through it, it
Mm-hmm.
was like this. I started to see this protuberance from above me, and I'm out of the camera, but I'm reaching up because this protuberance was pushing in from the outside,
Mm-hmm.
and then all of a sudden it pierced the bag, if you will. And I saw it was a hand, like my hand, your hand, a man's hand, a hand, human hand, and cracked, creviced. You know, if I were to use like a Christianese term, like ancient of days, like this I could tell had been around a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Like but I never felt any fear from this hand. And then it started to descend towards me, and it brought brilliant light, shiny white feathers, and I heard this orchestral music start to play, which was so comforting. And the hand came down to a point where, and the best thing I can liken it to is anybody seen the old King Kong with Faye Dunaway, is how big his hand was, and he
Sure.
grabbed her around the waist, and grabbed her.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happened. This hand grabbed me around the waist, shackles fell off, all the demonics, the things I was seeing that were torturing me all fled. Um, and then I heard this voice, and it was like many things mixed together. A clap of a bolt of lightning, clap of thunder, Niagara Falls, all mixed together, and it simply said, "It's not your time." And then I felt this upward lifting out of there, and then all the pain was gone, and then I probably at that point is when I spent the month in a coma.
So, okay.
So
You
the
didn't
hand
just you didn't just as you look back on this time, you didn't wake up at that moment.
no,
So you were you remembered that well afterwards, but you like everything. So then it was then it was basically you don't know what was next. You just know there's time or
Yes.
something. There's space between that hand pulling you out of there and then opening your eyes again.
Yeah, 27 days later, right. Yeah.
Wow. Now, Matt, why do you know? And we're going to get into sort of the everything that you saw here. So, and just to remind the audience, at this moment, Matt, so you get shot on the sidewalk. You're in the ambulance. You flatlined.
I was told I flatlined quite a few times,
Right.
and they brought
Uh,
me back.
back, raced to the hospital. You
Yeah,
lost a friend,
yeah,
right?
yes,
To another stray bullet actually took a friend's life.
yes,
Your brother's with you. Your wife had to fly out.
yes,
You're in the hospital. And then again, you were in a coma for almost a month
yes,
afterwards, and the recovery was brutal.
yeah,
Um, to get back, and then these images and everything, you sort of as you were putting the pieces together, came back.
correct.
So people who talk about near death experiences would say what you have is a distressed near death experience, and you went to you had a dark moment. Why have you ever asked yourself why you think that's where you were sent in that moment?
Well, I think it had everything to do, and this is from my perspective now.
Sure.
I think it had everything to do with I did not know the Son of God, and by His mercy, I didn't
Right.
stay there.
So
Prayers of old, prayers for my wife, I don't know, I can't answer that
right.
one,
Sure.
but
Okay.
I guarantee you that's why I experienced that.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right. So now when you look back on it, and like we like to ask all of our guests on this on Splintered Spirits. So
yes,
what do you think? Well, first and foremost, do you believe in ghosts? And what do you think spirits are?
that's a funny word, ghosts, I
Yeah.
definitely believe in spirits,
Okay. What do you think they are?
I think there's ones with a good assignment and then there's spirits with not a good assignment. Um,
Define what do you mean by assignment? You so do,
well, I
what do you
believe
think?
that I believe we have a God that created everything.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't believe there's no monkeys. No. Anyway, I believe that there's a God that created everything, and there is good and evil, and then He has angels and spirits that are here to help us. But then you also had the fall of Lucifer, which was his worshiper, and so he's got his own people, if you want to call them, too,
Mm-hmm.
spiritual helpers or um, those that carry out his plan rather than the God's plan of redemption, which is based on love.
So do you believe, is it fair to say, do you believe that spirits are non-human energies or entities?
That's a good question. Um, because see, like you inside of you have a spirit. So does
Well,
that
yeah,
mean
right.
does so does that
That's what I'm
mean
at.
it's a human spirit? Uh,
Well, yeah, I would just for for purposes of this conversation, I would
right.
say like yes, like whatever's inside me would be a human spirit if I pass and somehow like you saw me in a vision or I came and visited you as my quote unquote ghost,
Yeah.
that would be a human spirit.
Yes.
So do you believe that exists alongside these other spirits that are possibly have a non-human origin?
Wow. Um,
there's a lot of viewpoints on this. There's no wrong answer. It's just, you know what I mean?
I know,
It's
I
like you're
know,
not,
I know, I know,
there's
I
no
know.
wrong answer because there's no way to, you know what I mean? It's just, I
Yeah,
want to know
yeah,
based on your experience,
yeah.
because you have such a unique one. Have you ever thought about that? Like, you know, what would you think? Do you think that is sort of a, you know, forget about the vernacular or the semantics of it, but
Right, right.
is that sort of a, something you would, how would you think about that?
I would have to say, yeah, there is.
Right. Right. So, okay,
Yes.
that makes it right.
Yeah.
There's certain creatures that are non-human origin or spirits, like the ones that you experienced ripping off you. Like, would you say, like, would you ever look back and think like those were once human, or the ones that were torturing you, or could those have been something else?
I think they would be more classified as not human, but, fallen angels, you know what I mean?
Yep.
The ones that have evil intent that God said, "No, you guys can't be in heaven anymore. This isn't gonna work." Which is just like, you know, with like Lucifer, it's not gonna work, so gone. But then Lucifer took a whole bunch of guys with him.
Right.
So,
Do you, so, and the hand that grabbed
yes.
you, do you believe that that hand is a single divine presence, or could it have been a collective consciousness of spirit, you know, pulling you out when you look back?
I
What do
believe
you,
it was I believe it was one. I believe it was
okay,
our only creator with a
okay,
capital C.
okay, okay.
Yep.
Um, so, and this whole experience, when you look at your experience, do you believe that that was hell?
Yes.
That is what, that was hell.
I believe
And
that.
it, okay.
It was
And that
void
was
of
the,
any and there was no love there, void of anything good, so that's hell.
got it. Then so right. That completely that answers my next question for you. Right. So that was, you felt, you could feel the emptiness of it,
Yes.
of that conscious. Got it. So what do you think then happens to us when we pass? What do you think the spirit is in a person? So that if you've ever watched a, like a paranormal show or a ghost show,
Right?
you know, and they're, and you hear, or people have spirit boxes and they hear, you know, spirits talk to them, or they record a voice. What is how did that happen? How do you think that happens?
I'm not sure. That's
Nobody's
I'm
sure. That's
I'm
why
not
it's
s
fun to think. It's
yeah.
fun to talk about what we
I'm
think.
not sure how
Nobody's
that works.
sure, Matt.
That's just
It's
like,
just like,
because my father passed, and I believe there's been a couple of times where I've seen him, and my brother has seen him, like, seen him,
mm-hmm.
you know? We were trying
Yeah.
to get a grill that one day, and it was my dad's old grill, and he told my brother, he's like, "You gotta do this." And Johnny was like, "What?" He came back and he's like, "Bro," to me.
Hmm.
He's like, "Dad was just out there." I'm like, "I believe it." So,
Now, okay. So
yeah.
let's take it a step. Like, you
Right.
know, you've experienced something. You've
Yeah.
experienced something, you know, where you've gone to another place,
Yes, for
right?
sure,
Your energy went to
for
another
sure.
place. So why, how do you think your father appeared to your brother in that moment? What do you think that is?
Ah, I believe that pe people up there, i.e. in heaven that have passed on, maybe are given an opportunity to peer in on their loved ones from time to time.
Hmm. Sure.
That'd be my guess.
Do you think there's any, do you believe when people talk about ghosts in the sense of, oh, they have unfinished business and they're trapped here or something? Do you believe in any of that sort of
I don't
stuff?
know. I don't know about that. I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
That'd be more like, oh, you know, like a purgatory thing or something? I
I don't
don't know.
know. Who know? Nobody knows. Again,
I
Matt,
don't know.
nobody knows.
Yeah,
There's no
we
wrong
don't know.
answer. You only have to go by what you're, what you, how you've
Yes,
experienced something, and sort of how does that, let me ask you this way. What, before this incident for you,
right?
what would you have said? How do you think you would have answered this question? What do you think happens when you die?
I probably would have just said, "You go to heaven."
Right. And now, when you
There
think
there
about what happens when you die, how does that answer change?
there's some qualifications. And it's not just being a good person, because I was a good person.
Right.
I loved people. I was doing good things. But,
Mhm.
I don't think God was lying when he said, You need to know my son." Or Jesus said, "The only way the Father is through me." Whatever scripture that is.
Mhm.
I think he was not lying. I think he's telling the truth.
Okay.
So that's a
Okay.
big yeah, that changed big time.
Let me ask you this. If someone from a different faith,
Yeah,
or no faith
right?
had the same experience that you had, uh, how do you think they would interpret it? If someone went through this, what you experienced, do you think, what do you think, how would they describe what it was, if not, if it wasn't a religious, without having the religious lens on it?
I don't know. I mean, because that's how people all of a sudden had no belief or anything change. So, you know what I mean? Things like this change
You
people's.
think it would, you think
I think that their whatever their view before may change.
got it.
Yeah.
Right. So they would all of a sudden turn to it.
Yep.
You've said you don't regret what happened, which I find remarkable.
I don't. We lost a lot, but what we've gained, you can only gain sometimes by through a loss. As long as as long as you don't stay with a defeatist attitude, like, oh, the crap that sucks. Life's over. So
What's been the what's been the biggest loss? Were you able to go back to work at some point, or did you change everything?
nope, we had to change everything. I tried that, didn't work.
Mm.
Too much brain injury.
Uh, got it.
Yeah,
Got it.
Well,
Got it. Got
bullet tends to rearrange some things in there.
it. Oh man. It was a hard recovery is what you're saying.
Yes, yeah, and there
How long
and
did it take how long
there
did it take you to like sort of really get back on your feet where you can, you know, have some semblance of normalcy?
well, many years,
Oh wow.
and it would have been impossible if I didn't have my wife by my side. I'll tell you, she
No,
decided to.
she's a saint.
She decided to stay early on in the injury, and
Um,
yeah,
hold on. So I'm just looking through I want to see what I want to ask you. Okay. When you first woke up now,
yeah.
it's I mean, can you even remember the moment you woke up, or does that take even some
No, I
time? You have
do.
to look.
I remember it very vividly. It was
Oh.
horrible.
Oh, really?
It was horrible. I mean, I love watching these movies and somebody comes out of a coma and they're like celebrating, you know. I'm laying there, one of my arms is tied down in the bed. I'm looking around the room and I don't know where I am, but you come to the conclusion very fast you're in the hospital. But
Mhm.
then I see all these birthday cards and well, because I had a birthday while I was in the coma. In April. And my body hurt. I lost, oh gosh, a whole ton of weight. Um, I think when I went before I got shot, I was whatever, 150, 160, and I'm laying there weighing 90.
Well, how did you but you didn't know you weighed less at that moment when you first
No,
wake
no,
up.
no,
That
but
takes a minute.
I could tell I hurt. Everything in my body hurt. Hole in my neck, so that means you can't talk. You
Oh,
know,
wow.
from the what they
Oh,
call it, ventilator.
who was the first person you saw? Was it a nurse, a doctor, your wife?
Hmm.
What was the first face? Do you remember the first face you saw?
Remember the first hand, that was my wife's. I was playing with her wedding ring.
Got it. Interesting.
Yeah.
Uh, and then how long did it take for this memory of your experience to come back? When did that come in?
The details, were a few years later. we had to go down to the hospital for a neurological review or something like that. And then after seeing the hospital, apparently that opened up floodgates. And one morning I woke up and all this memory started flooding, and all this started flooding to come back to me in a flood. I'm like, for one, it scared the crap out of me. I could barely talk. I couldn't even. I went to tell my wife what I just saw, and I was so pale. She just stared at me. She's like, "What?" And I'm like, it took me quite a while to be able to tell her what I saw.
Right. And now your wife is obviously a big role in your life here.
Yes,
And what she did, she was sitting by your side. She was praying
yes.
for you and for your recovery and to get you back. Do you think how would you do you think there's we could talk about it as a power of prayer or a connection of consciousness? What do you think is do you think there was a connection there between what she was doing to help get you back?
Absolutely, I think so.
And you do think so.
I do.
And now and do you think what do you think it is? What do you think that connection is? Is it just the power of prayer? Is it an energy? Because we all have energy
Yeah,
inside us.
I think
How
it's
would you describe it?
I think it's a power of prayer, but also, it's a covenant between her and I as husband and wife, that she was honoring, like the vows to till death do us part. Well, she's like, "No. No, God."
Technically, you flatlined. She could have split. She's like, my contract's up.
Yeah,
You know,
done, expired,
right? You know what I
expired.
mean? It's like he flatlined once. It's like, yep, I'm out. But she's stuck with it.
Yeah,
She's
that's like
going
that
beyond the
commercial,
contract.
"Expired."
Yeah,
That drives me crazy. Anyway, but yes.
right,
But power, prayer, covenantal keeping,
right.
and then God somehow honored her prayer, and I'm happy and blessed that she did, and her mom probably, there was others praying, but, oh, definitely the prayer.
What do you think is our connection to these spirits? Is it emotional energy? Is it fear? Is it love? Is it faith? What is it that attracts them to us or
I think
connects us to that?
I think first it's faith and then love. Um,
So that's an emotional connection.
yeah. Is faith an emotion?
Well, love is, I mean,
Love is. Yeah.
love is. Faith is a belief,
Yes.
right? A strong belief,
Yeah.
so love is an emotional thing. Do you think, does fear play any role in there?
Probably.
In sort of their attraction to or their draw to you in that moment? What do you think
Probably.
it was? What do you think it was that when you look back on it that why do you think they hated you? You said earlier, right? They hated you.
They
What is it
did.
about you that they hated, do you think, when
I
you look
think they
back?
hated that I had love in my heart, and I had goodness in my body, in my soul,
Okay.
and they hated that.
Have you ever felt even remotely that same dark energy since your recovery?
No.
Have you ever been afraid of something that has taken you close to that or watching you or lurking or any of that?
No. No.
Never.
Well, fortunately, thank God, no.
Okay.
No.
It was a one-off.
It was a one all. Done.
Right. It's interesting, man. It's like what would you tell people then in terms of do you think first of all, you said you were a good, you're a good person and you are.
Yeah.
Do you think it seems unfair. Have you ever asked God like why did you put me through this?
You know what? I've asked that, but not really on my behalf, but I've wondered for others.
What do you mean?
I mean, 'cause I really believe the fact that I didn't know his son was the reason why I experienced what I experienced. So, I know there's a lot of people out there that do not know God's son, Jesus. So, I've been concerned or, that I pray for that a lot of times. What about them?
So, oh, okay, I see what you're saying. So
So
you're wondering you're okay, but how do I ask this, Matt? So it's a this happened to you somewhat unjustly. So yeah, it feels like it could happen to anybody who's a good person or a bad person. If that happens to a good person, what do you think is going to happen to a bad person?
right.
Right?
They're
So
probably they're probably yeah, I found something no good.
right. So how can, is that a way, do you feel that that's a fair way to learn that lesson? To about
I would rather
accepting Jesus into your heart?
I would
Is it
rather have done it some other way,
right, right, yeah, I can
but,
imagine that's
but that's one of the big reasons why, I wouldn't replay this at all. I mean, it's what it was, and
right. But could it have been a mistake? Maybe there's another Matthew Botsford that they
hmm,
just got mixed up in the
well,
books?
I know there's other ones out there and they coach volleyball and basketball, I'm like, "That's not me."
Right, but maybe they're the ones who they had on the list to get
I
to go
don't
in the
know,
wrong
man. You
spot?
mean you mean like Santa Cla like a naughty list, like Santa.
Yeah, yeah, they just got you mixed up with somebody else to put you through that?
We could do a show like that.
Right.
The great mix-up.
The great mix-up. This is like the greatest mix-up in history.
Yeah, "Hey, what's in your bag?"
Matt, have you ever talked to anyone else with other experiences like yours? Have you ever gone on like into a group or like anybody else who's had near-death experiences in this fashion?
I've talked to some, and they're all and we're all s they're we're all it's all seems similar, in great
As it, did
detail
it, is it
similar.
does everyone approach it from a a religious angle that they feel like this is the hand of
Yeah.
God or this is the
Yeah, it seems to be, like you had mentioned, if somebody of another faith comes through a similar experience, how will they interpret it? Well, it's the experience that you go through that creates your interpretation, and so it
right?
ends up coming around to the same kinda conclusion.
Can you think of a story or someone else that you've spoken to that had a similar experience, but was very similar but different in the sense that they experienced the hand of God in a different way than you did? It wasn't so violent?
I'm trying to think, I'm trying to remember. Ah, I don't think so. I don't think so
Yeah,
on the at the moment, I don't think I can.
got it. Have you ever had any other experiences, maybe obviously not so violent, but or like not just seeing your dad, but other moments in your life since the event or prior to the event that felt supernatural or otherworldly?
Let me think back. I mean, it doesn't really I mean, each morning, I'll get up. I try to get up usually around sunrise because I like to begin the day like that. I'm a
Mhm,
morning person rather than a night person,
mhm.
but I'll sit there and meaning I'll sit there and you can call them devotions or whatever. I don't know if this is gonna answer your question or not, but I guess it's best I got.
No, no, sure, it's fine.
And I will sit there and I'll say, "All right, God, what's going on? What you got? What's today?" And I always have a coffee, be drinking coffee, and I'll sit there, and if I am quiet long enough, eventually I can feel, and it's the Holy Spirit. I can feel that supernatural presence in the room. Um, I don't know if that's an answer.
No,
But
it certainly is an answer. Do you feel a connection when you meet new people at all? Do you feel any sort of
sometimes,
difference in energy or vibes? I mean, we all look, we all
sometimes,
what do
yeah,
you
sometimes that's sometimes if I meet a certain person, I'll be like, uh huh. you've got an understanding. Do you know what I
Uh,
mean?
yeah, it's like
Yeah,
an intuition. What do you
yeah.
think about mediums? Do you believe in people like that that can, you know,
I
have
think
the
I
ability to
I think they can. Um,
have you ever sat with one?
no. Been on a show with one, but I've never sat with one.
Got it.
Yeah.
Did they give you a reading did you believe in it?
Never actually had a reading from one.
Got it.
It's
Uh,
funny it's funny how any la the la I won't say any name or anything, but the last one I actually saw, how they tried to keep eye contact with me, but had difficulty. I'm like, "What's that about?"
what'd they
Uh,
say?
"Oh, I don't know what that's
Maybe they
about."
f Do you think maybe you still have some sort of a connection, like a mark, a
Yeah.
spiritual mark from having, uh, been through what you've been through, right? It's like
Could
getting
be,
Did
could
you get the
be.
last rites?
Do I?
Did you get the last rites when you were in the hospital?
I don't know that.
Uh, because first of all, firmly believe getting the last rites and living is totally awesome and metal. It might be
Yes.
the coolest. It's the coolest. It might be the coolest thing ever. I've got I think as being that I was raised Catholic, for the seven sacraments that there are, I believe
Right.
I've gotten pretty much all of them except for the last rites and then vocation. I'm not going to become a priest anytime soon, but I would enjoy getting the last rites, but living. And
Living.
I'm wondering, because it's like, how cool is it? It's like, yeah, man, I got the last rites, but I'm still standing.
But I'm here, bro, I'm standing right here talking to you, bro.
Talking to standing right here. It's the most badass thing I think you can do.
Yeah.
Um, and
I don't have any idea.
huh,
That's a question I'll ask somebody else that was cognizant of reality rather than
sure.
me being somewhere else.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good question. And
Yeah.
I wonder where in the timeline that falls.
Right.
You know what I mean? Is there a connection
Yeah.
with, with when you received that versus when that hand came down and sort of
Wow.
whatever,
Right?
how long after you woke up
Yeah.
was that was the last rites,
There's a lot of
if you received them?
questions. I don't know if we're gonna I don't know if I'll ever get those kinda answers, but I got a lot of
No, no,
questions.
yeah, it's been a while. This happened in '92, right?
Yes.
Have you ever gone back to that restaurant and give 'em a bad Yelp review? Like, food
No.
was great.
No,
Food was
no,
great,
no.
but, the
Yeah.
bullets afterward, the
Hey,
dessert was not so great.
your road service? Poo-poo.
Right, right.
No. Now your
That
drive-through? Skip it. Skip the
Right.
drive-through, man. No drive-by shootings.
Oh my goodness. Uh,
That's bad humor.
no, no, it's okay. We gotta keep it light, man. We can't sit here and talk about you have a wonderful redemption story,
Yes,
that is so
for
it's like if
sure.
we can't keep it light after the horrific sort of
Well,
experience you had.
I think it goes to show that, you know, you can be really far gone and still may not be done with your with your life. I mean, not even in a spiritual standpoint. I mean, there's some people that are have hard times, like hard times. You know, can't get any food. You know what I'm saying? No home. That's hard.
Yeah,
I don't know what that's like. Thank God.
right, right. It could always be worse, sort of what you're saying for
Yeah.
sure. And what you went through was sort of would you call it an awakening? Do you feel it's that much of an experience, like a difference?
It
What you
definitely, well,
felt?
okay, an awakening. I don't know technically what that would be defined as, but
Neither do I. I'm just using that word.
this definitely would be considered an awakening in my life. Yeah. Um, it changed a lot of ways that we live for sure.
Oh wow.
Yep. Um,
Now, what would
it
you
doesn't mean
do?
we're in church 365 days a year, but
Right.
it definitely
No, sure.
it shows us where our belief is or should be.
Matt, let me ask you a question.
Uh-huh.
If this happened again,
Yeah.
like, God forbid, it
Yeah.
happened again, and you woke up and you were on those chains again, what do you think you would do that next time? what would you tell yourself? Like, I know exactly how to get out of this, or this is,
Well, I think probably if it happened again, I would actually have the name of Jesus in my mouth, and I would holler his name, and
right.
then that's probably would hopefully end it all.
But you don't think you'd be like, wait a minute, damn it. I just spent,
Oh,
I
probably,
changed my whole life. This is unfair. Like, would there be any
probably,
sort of,
probably if I could. I mean, see, eh, under that kind of duress, there's not much. You know what I'm saying? You're not like,
yeah,
I mean, like
sure.
I said, I would hope now that I have a relationship with God's son that maybe I could have it in me to holler for help from him.
Right. Right,
That'd
right,
be
right.
that'd be the only thing I could think.
Sure. Do you, well, I was going to ask you, wait, there was the one in that moment. Oh, I lost it for a second. It was so, I look at your story. And for some people who have distress near death experiences, right? It's almost like it's oddly that they got scared straight for
Yeah.
real, right? But and it was like remember the old Scared Straight show? He's sent into prison, and it's like
Oh, that's
hopefully this will turn your life
scary.
around,
Yeah,
right?
that was
But
scary.
do you ever think that you know this is a little bit of a twist on things? Is it? Do you ever think of the fact that you go to this horrible place? But it was what made you what pushed you in the direction that you wanted to live your life wasn't necessarily Jesus, but it was the evil that you saw that sent you to a better spot. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It was like, who got you to live a better life? Was it Jesus that got you to live a better life? Or was it the devil that got you to live a better life?
right. Uh-huh. That's quite a that's a conundrum.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is it it's a
Yeah,
there's a
like you
lot of
said, it's like the scared straight, yeah.
and I'm just sure, what do you think about that?
Well,
What do you
I think, when the hand rescued me, I felt so much love, and there's no way that dark side could provide that kind of love. I guarantee you that. But by experiencing that dark side, if you will, it sure was a good, kickoff towards the other side. But the
I guess
hand yeah,
yeah, no, I look at it sometimes, we all have this impression of the devil, right? And
right.
I'm not sitting here promoting the devil in any way or any of that. I don't really care what people do or what they believe and I'm open-minded, but I wonder if it's more of a good cop, bad cop situation, to get you to the same place.
Yeah,
Because if you look at the devil, some of the really the devil's biggest presence in the Bible is actually in the book of Job.
right.
And his presence there is not one of he and God are having a conversation. They're
Yeah,
like playing a game. It's basically trading spaces. If
yes,
you ever saw that movie
I
where it's
did.
just, like, hey, let's test this guy. All right,
Yep,
well, I'm going to push him this way and
yep.
see if he really does. It's a bet.
It is. Yes. Yeah,
They're not, and people always think like, no, this guy's super bad and this guy's super this. And I wonder because you've now, you were a good person to begin, but now you've pushed yourself into even a more, you know, uh, into what you believe in a more holier life and a more, you've gone even further in that, but it wasn't just by living a good life. It was almost like this evil side pushed you towards it. And I always wonder what people think of that, in terms of, huh,
yeah. I'm not sure.
is there a bigger game plan there that we
Wow,
don't know about?
I don't know,
If
man.
that is the way to go.
That's that you're talking about the master chess game now.
Yeah?
I don't know.
Have you ever thought about it?
Not until you mention it. No, never. I've only ever thought about the hand that received me.
Got it. Not the hand that put that right, not the
No,
situation that
no, not that. Yeah. Well, of course I've thought, and I love this because people ask me, so are you plagued by these memories? And by the grace of God, I'm not. Um, talk about them, and then when I'm done talking about them, it's gone. It's not there,
Right.
and I'm very, very thankful for that because they give me
Well,
some
yeah,
they give me some horrifying nightmares.
yeah. I mean, that is your story is the epitome of Dante's Inferno of
Yeah.
hell, right? I
Right,
mean,
right,
it is
right, right, with yeah,
the straight up,
yeah,
you know, textbook horrific experience that
yep,
nobody wants, and you sort of came out of it with a better outlook or an outlook that works for you
yeah,
and your wife, and it built a stronger relationship, and it's
yeah,
like all of these things with your family and with your wife, and
yep,
it all turned for the better
yep,
despite the horrible nature and then what it did to you physically and you
yeah.
know, and the suffering that it caused, which is wild. I mean, it is
I
an
wish I
interesting
wish he'd give
outlook.
me the provision that he gave Job, though. He blessed with he took everything from him, and then he gave him back, like, what, like 7 times more or something?
I know.
Provisions? I
Right.
don't know.
It was quite the game they
Quite the
played.
gain.
Quite the game
Yeah,
they played with him.
I could have used that. Heck
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Joe didn't get a medical bill at the end of the day.
No, no,
Um,
I could definitely I don't know if my sub would like sheep, though. So, no, I have to pass on the sheep.
right. Oh man, that's funny, Matt. Look, it's a great. It's. Do you ever look? Do you ever watch the ghost shows or the paranormal shows?
I don't. I love sci-fi shows, but
Hmm.
I don't really watch let's see. What was it? Remember the movie X-Files with Mulder and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
what was that considered?
That's a paranormal thing. That's a fictional show about the
The
paranormal
original
and
when
unexplained.
that first came out, we loved it. We watched it all the time.
Sure. And it
Um,
begs, it gives you both sides. It makes you sort of wonder
yeah,
what is there, what isn't there. How can you the unexplained and and all of these things. Look, I come at all this stuff from a perspective of just trying to. I look at everybody's experience
yeah,
as a piece to a bigger picture, right? Of what may be the answer. It's a giant mosaic in my head
yes,
right now,
yeah,
right?
for
Of
sure.
all these different angles of what are spirits and what is
Right,
it that
right.
we're what is happening.
Yeah,
I think there is I got a reading from a medium. I found it wild. I can't for the life of me figure out how she may have known certain things. I believe I believe people have intuition, right? Like
oh
everyone has
yeah.
an intuition.
Oh yeah, my wife's big time intuitive.
Right, and some people have it in the same way I compare it to sports a lot, right? Some people
Yeah,
can throw a baseball at 98 miles an hour, and some people can't, and I
yeah,
think intuition is another muscle that, we all have a flight or fight
right,
instinct in us for
right.
some reason,
Yeah,
right? I don't know why that kicks in, and yet why can't that then be so strengthened to where you can connect to something else? And what is that something else?
yeah,
Is it just we all have electrical synapses in our brain? This
yep,
is fact.
yep,
That energy is something.
yep,
But we don't know what consciousness is.
right,
We don't know how the mind works, and we don't know what that connection is to others and
right.
how we are connected in that way. And it's an interesting to get a perspective from someone who literally flatlined,
Yes, several
and
times I
so
was told.
several times,
Mhm,
and your energy cannot be created or destroyed.
right.
And did some of it dissipate or transfer somewhere? Some stayed.
Mhm,
What happened? Where did it go? What did you experience? What stayed connected? Which is all, and what's the purpose of it from what you saw versus is it truly God? Is it truly another thing? What is that overall consciousness, a mindset? Regardless of it, it's worked for you and
yep,
worked for your wife,
mhm.
and it's a great story to see what is that connection. Um, and Matt, look, thank you so much. I appreciate your time today,
Dude,
as
I'm so glad you
always.
called me, man.
Yeah, it's
When my phone rang and it said Gary, my wife was like, "Wait, Gary, California Gary?"
Oh, that's sweet.
Because we were over
You guys
at,
are great. You guys are wonderfully open about sharing this story, and it's a great story. And I've always been a fan of you and your wife and your trajectory based on what you've gone through. And I think it makes sense for us on Splintered Spirits here to talk about this and near-death experiences and what that means in this spirit communication angle that we look at. What
right,
is that
right.
connection we have?
Well, I love the title of your show. I didn't realize the title of the show until I got the thing, the
Sure.
sign. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, great, perfect,
We try here, Matt.
perfect, because that's so
Uh,
true. Splintered Spirits.
what is it?
Yeah, what is it?
What breaks off? What is
What?
connected? What stays connected? And
Yeah,
you get it. You get it. That's the
uh-huh,
fun we're trying to.
got it.
And we're trying to do it from a place of fun and curiosity and staying
Right.
curious and staying
Yeah,
understanding and staying open. You know, and that's why that's just kind of where we're looking at everything from. Matt. That's just the place we want to stay.
yeah.
What's next for you before we just say goodbye? Is it like, I know your wife wrote a book recently, and
She
is there
did.
anything you want to tell everybody? What's
Yeah, she
what's
wrote
next for
a
you?
book about, like you were talking about, the time. So she entitled it A Day in Hell. But the rewrite, she wrote it once, and then she felt inclined to rewrite it again, make it shorter and more concise. And the rewrite is awesome. It's more hopeful. It's got all the details, but yet it's A Day in Hell, Tragedy to Triumph. And so the subtitle is what the book is full of: hope. And it's the story, but it's full of hope.
Is it just to be clear, is it the story from her perspective of what happened to you?
It's both. I mean, because she's
Sure.
got what I told you about what I experienced in it,
Mhm.
but it's also got more of what she experienced in it too. Yes. She had quite the experiences in the hospital and things like that, praying for me. So that's in the book.
All right, well, we'll have to do this. The good thing about this is we'll have to have a follow-up episode then and have it from her perspective. We'll have to have Nancy on.
She's the bomb-o.
Yes, get her tale, and see how those two line up. Matt, thank you so much. I appreciate you. I appreciate your time.
Thanks, Gary.
Have a wonderful holiday season.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Right? Yeah.
Right, we're rolling into it, man.
Fast.
We're rolling into it. Thanks, Matt.
Thanks, Gary. Bye.
Well, that's it for another episode of Splintered Spirits. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Until next time, stay curious.